Welcome to Abode with Afta, the podcast where we step inside real homes and uncover the stories behind the renovations. I'm your host and interior designer Ashley, and I'm speaking with homeowners and industry experts about what it really takes to transform a house. Hi and welcome back to the Abode with Afta podcast. In today's episode, I am going to deep dive into a personal story, like genuinely personal, because as I've said before, I am also going through my own home renovation, and that has brought its own challenges as much as wins, because I am loving the experience. And this is one that I actually debated speaking about, because part of me felt like I should have it all together. You know, I've got an interior design business. Technically, I'm using this platform to share my clients' work and stuff. But like I said, I'm also doing my own renovation. So I've decided I want to be honest about it. And I'm sure what I'm going through, some of you could probably relate to as well. So we moved into our home in November. We actually got the keys to our house roughly a year ago today, I want to say. Not today, but this month. When we got the keys, we did kind of dive straight into doing rip-outs and things. But since I am designer, it wasn't like we just ripped out. Obviously, I was, trying to film it all for socials. I was really trying to show that design process behind the scenes and what was making my decisions at the point. So anyway, fast forward to November, we finally got time to, move in. It is now April, and since November, I have done specifically nothing. Now, did I plan this? No. However, when I moved in November, I was just absolutely exhausted. Like, the thought of making a single further decision of what to do with the house, like, I just couldn't. I did not have the energy for it or the creative brain at all. Obviously, moving in November, things are kind of busy in your life anyway. So Christmas was coming up and I just wanted to enjoy it. And actually, that is what I have done. Up to the point where now I am really trying to not force myself, but I'm just trying to get back into the swing of getting back into design flow. But if you're me and you've got the design business, you know that saying, a joiner's house is the last one to get done. They should really say an interior designer's house is the last one to get done, because that's how I feel doing my own home right now. So if you want a wee clearer deep dive on what actually is decision fatigue, then I'm going to just run through that quickly. So decision fatigue is a real psychological thing. It's not just a buzzword, it is documented. So the idea about this is when you build up tiny decisions throughout a day, then by the end of the day, you're really tired from it. Now, if we look at that in terms of design and projects, installs, project management, that's literally thousands of decisions, especially when you're kind of going between design ideas, you're doing more than one room at a time. When we were doing our renovation there for phase 1, we had 4 rooms upstairs, 2 bathrooms and a landing. So that's in total like 6-7 rooms. Just for phase 1, so no wonder I was absolutely exhausted by the end of it. This is why, by the end of the week, you just can't make any decisions anymore. It's also, as a good analogy, why you see like celebrities wearing the same outfit every day, or people wear uniforms, because it just takes that decision away from it. But going back to renovations here, that build up of not just, we've got design ideas, who should we work with here? Let's get people out for a quote, that organisation, how much money are we spending here? What's the time involved here? Other people's opinions. I mean, for us doing it, it's just me and my partner. So I say he does have a decision in it, but usually just agrees with what I do and runs with it. He's just more interested in how much it's going to cost for us. But I've got to say, he hasn't really said no to any of the ideas yet. So why does it hit you renovating hard? Well, firstly, like, the decisions are big. I know it comes down to, and people say this about design, oh, well, it's just a colour or it's just a wallpaper, blah, blah, blah. But it comes as part of a full renovation idea. And this could be costing you like 10k plus. So these decisions are not light. And that comes with a big not like a stress, but a big commitment. Like, is this really what I want to spend my money on here? You know, is there any other options out there? Again, that's like time, because you're kind of shopping around, you're considering other ideas. And sometimes I like to also cancel out other ideas, even if I've explored them, just to make sure like the one that I've settled on for renovating is what I actually want to do. Again, kind of leading off the back of this, there's just so many options. Like, even for me as the designer, you know, I have like more than one kind of supplier I like to work with. I know, you know, a couple of contractors that specialise in different things. Also doing my own home this time, not that I was using it as a show home, like I have tried to stay really true to it being for me and my, you know, my family, really focusing on my own brief. But of course I've been like, you know, I'd really like to challenge myself to see if I can design this or work with this type of contractor to add something to my own portfolio. So that in itself has given me challenges, because you're stepping into like a design unknown. But if you think about designing from, you know, 20 years ago, you had a local tile shop, a local flooring shop, you went down to them, said, I like that, let's have it. And then, you know, the guys booked you in for 4 to 8 weeks' time. Now, if you're trying to design your home, you go on Instagram, you go on Pinterest, you maybe still like things like House, TikTok, even like the DIY boom. Everybody's trying to show what they've done, and it can literally be overwhelming. And one thing that I see working with clients as well, and this is literally so common, but many clients come to me, they either have a kind of vision or they don't, but the ones that do, they come to me with their Pinterest board or whatever, and they're like, yeah, but I know what I want and I'm really trying to do it, but it doesn't replicate their home. And I think that's where this online world doesn't replicate like the same thing. For example, I recently worked with a client who was going for kind of gentleman's club in his home interiors, and he lived in, you know, a nice kind of small house, but a great starter home. And the Pinterest images he's shown me were like really posh, high ceilings, gentleman's club, massive windows, you know, very American style. And he just didn't have that, like, in terms of architecture for his own house. So that, between the two, like trying to replicate the photo to his own house, it was like, I don't know how this isn't happening, but actually that was coming from the architecture. So that, just what you see online, yes, you can replicate it, but you still need to think about your own home as its, you know, individual space at the same time. Also, when you make a decision, and this is, you know, I use this flow in my own clients' work, as decisions are connected. So what do I mean by that? Well, early on with a client's project, I would usually have a flat lay or a mood board or a design direction, and this kind of sets up the intent with what we are trying to design. So if we don't try and go off track, because usually it relates back to that kind of design direction. But it might mean, like, yes, we can shortlist 2 types of flooring, and shortlist a few wall colours, but maybe it comes down to the tile that we still need to make a decision on. And until we've made that decision on the tile, then we can't make a decision on the other stuff. Or we're still deciding that layout, like, are we going to floor all that, or are we going to have it with something different? So decisions are all interlinked. And I think if you've done any type of renovation project, this is something that you will understand, and it's something that I try and hone into clients as well. Because usually if I go for the first introductory meeting, it's I like this and I like this and I like this, and that's fine, but it's not considered in that room as a whole. And usually once we start doing that, that's when ideas kind of change, or we get a true idea of what we actually want, rather than thinking of these individual things as their own separate entities, because that's when you can get confused as well by the styles that you're going for, or materials might just have a little bit of a mismatch. That also kind of relates to, what's the word, we're in this dopamine era where we see things online, we go, I want that, I really like that, and then the next week you want something else. So going back to having that master mood board can help with your decisions as you go along the design process. And for me especially, what's really struggled with me is that I just do it for everybody else. By the time I finish my working day and I get to the end of the week and I'm thinking of, well, what can I do for my own house? I'm just gone. Like, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. But I am trying really hard to get back into a little bit of design flow and inspiration. So if I can, again, I'm talking from my own experience right now, what does design fatigue actually look like? So you might be, ordering samples weekly, monthly. You might be spending your weekends going to show homes or showrooms, but what are you actually doing with all that information? You're actually just feeding yourself more instead of coming to a decision. You're putting that off. You might have the Pinterest boards. I absolutely love a Pinterest board, but all you're doing is saving images that feel inspiring rather than ones that you actually want to inflict on your home. One thing you could actually do to tackle this, which is something that I do myself, is when I've got my inspiration images and I feel like I've understood how I'm going to use that space, that's also something that I really try and focus on, like the energy of the space rather than just how it looks. But once I've got that all decided, I like to go back through my Pinterest board and remove anything from it that no longer matches, that idea. Even if you move it to a different board, but just clear out that space, because that's just going to declutter that headspace that you're holding for all your design ideas. You might start a conversation with a trade. You might get, the joiner, contractor, tiler round and be like, yeah, I want my bathroom done, or I want this done, whatever it is in your home. But then nothing actually happens from it, because the joiner or contractor will say to you, right, okay, Mrs. Smith, what do you want done? And you'll say, well, I don't actually know, I just know that I want it done. So then nothing actually happens and the joiner can't really book you in because they've not got a design to quote you up for. I actually work really closely with contractors for this exact reason, because the homeowner usually contacts them first, and the contractor can't get them booked in because they don't know what they want, and then they pass them over to me. And actually from doing that, I tend to find the clients end up with a home that they really love. They love the idea of working with a designer. They just maybe hadn't considered it. And then the contractor gets to fit something usually a little bit more bougie or nice for the space anyway. So it's a win-win all round. And you feel excited about your renovation, but when it comes to action it, you've hit a wall. Now, again, this comes down to design decisions, but you might not know how something's actually getting installed. You might not understand that process. And yes, while you're not the one having to do it, if you're getting contractors in, you still need to know which one to call or send your stuff over to. This is quite actually relevant to being in this AI world that we're in right now. We're seeing things online that aren't actually real, and when it comes to actually fitting it, how do you know how to do it? Even some, trades are showing up like, can it be done? Can it not be done? So that's something to consider as well. So how do you actually get through it if you are having design decision? Well, one thing you can do is just stop for a defined period of time. I feel like this is what I've done since November, so we're probably talking like 4 or 5 months now, which maybe is a bit ridiculous, but I have still been doing design work during that time, just not for myself. Now, having that step out, I feel like it just gives you a little bit of clarity. You get that time to actually live in your space if you've done a few jobs before. Like I said, for us, we done the top floor first. This was actually to get moved in, and then we're starting the bottom. But once you live in the space for that period of time, then you'll just be able to have a bit of headspace. So even putting your samples away, like staying off Pinterest for a couple of weeks, not bombarding yourself with new information in terms of design, then you'll be able to go back to it with fresh eyes and see if there's actually anything there that you do like and you want to take forward, or if there's anything that you can, please take the tip, remove from your Pinterest board, because we want to go for quality over quantity there. So again, separating inspiration from your decision making. So scrolling Pinterest at night, scrolling Instagram, looking for this inspo, choosing this and choosing your flooring, it's not the same thing. Looking at these Instagram photos and things like that, you're actually looking at the space as a whole. You probably just like the vibe. That's what I tend to find. But actually choosing your flooring is its own identity, it's its own decision. And this is when the flat lays and the mood boards come in, because you're looking at decisions as their own single entity and how they come together, rather than just a finished space at the end. You can also reduce your options before you start deciding. So this hones everything in again. Having that master mood board working for you, like focusing on the energy of the space, the vibe, and then you can start to cancel out ideas that don't actually match that. Part of our first phase renovation was bathroom design. Now we have a main bathroom and we also have our ensuite, and if you go onto our social media or our website, we've got them up in there, the finished photos. They are completely different. Like, you probably wouldn't even think they're in the same house, but I just absolutely love them. My personal favourite is probably the ensuite, which has been designed with electric blue tiles and terrazzo. And obviously it's behind the hidden door if you listen to our previous episode. And that was based off of energy. So en suites, first place you go in the morning, where you start your day, I want to feel that energy, I want to feel good. And every time I open that door, like, I feel it. It's such high energy, it's such a good vibe. In contrast to that, when you go to our main bathroom, that is spa, that is zen, like natural tiles, plays with lighting as well, because there's actually no natural light in that room. But like, the contrast could not be any more different for our ensuite. But again, the main bathroom's used at the end of the day, time to relax, and the energy of the space really reflects that. So that's one tip you could do if you don't have a clear idea of samples and colours yet. Go back to, how you want to feel in the space, and usually that can help you decide. So yes, I am still in this decision fatigue mode, but now I am in the process of getting myself out of the funk. So what am I actually doing to do that? So I've had my break. It's been absolutely brilliant. But I do want to stop living in an upstairs flat with a kitchen down the stairs. It's time to get our living room under control, our dining room, kitchen. To be honest, one of the reasons I've been putting it off is that the spaces downstairs have more decisions involved in them. So we have a toilet down there, we have an under the stairs area where I quite fancy a little bit of bespoke cabinetry. We have kitchen, dining, ensuite. I want to change the walls in there, so that might require a building warrant. So I'm literally listing all the decisions that I'm going to have to make right now and wondering, oh my God, I'm getting overwhelmed. So what my plan is to move forward is, instead of looking at downstairs as its own phase 2, I am going to split this into phase 2, phase 3. So we're going to focus on the downstairs WC, the living room and the kind of hallway is one phase. So that'll be my phase 2. And then phase 3 will be my kitchen, dining, utility. So that is the biggest thing. I'm even splitting it down further. This is not just for decisions, although I really feel this will make it easier for me. It's also to spread the costs a wee bit as well, so we can budget for each space as its own. And then by the time it comes to kitchen, utility, we can save up again. So we can have what we want, because we are doing our kitchen last. I do agree that this is the way it should, because of the way our house is laid out and flows. But when I get to there, I don't want to just be installing something because it's, all I can have. I want to have what I want. So by just giving it that little bit of time before we get there, I feel like, I can just have the kitchen that I really love to have. So in this episode, I hope it really did resonate with you. I feel like I'm coming from my own personal experience, so I know exactly what it's like to have decision fatigue. If you're feeling it too, drop me a message, because like I can relate to you so much, send me a message on Instagram. We're at Abode with Afta Pods. That will be in the show notes as well. I love hearing all your messages since we've started the podcast. So being able to know what you're going through and if this resonated with you, definitely drop me the message. If you are enjoying the podcast, please do follow me and leave a little review or a wee comment down below. It would massively help me, and even just hearing your feedback on these solo episodes or even the ones with guests, let us know if we're providing some value for you. If you missed the last one, we spoke about joinery and built-ins, which I kind of touched on here. That was a great one, so make sure you go back. And until next time, I will speak to you again soon.